They're still being disrespectful to each other, which I love. Can't stand her, she can't stand him. Great stuff. Hello, hi, welcome to another reading vlog. In this vlog, you're going to be following me for one weekend where I'm going to read what I am hoping is going to be my new favourite fantasy book. So this book I'm definitely going to love, guys. And if I don't, I'm going to be very upset about it. So last night, Friday, after work, I went to a bookshop. I went to Daunt Books like 10 minutes before they were closing. And I was like, I need this book, I need this book. Couldn't find it anywhere. Like, I was so upset, even though it was literally the first bookshop I went to. So this morning I woke up and I went straight to Saucy Books, which is London's first romance bookshop. And it's also my local indie bookshop. It's such a cute, cute indie bookshop. And if you haven't been and you live in London, I'd highly recommend it. It's just really cute. And it's really autumn themed right now. Like, they have candles. Like, when you walk into the shop, it smells autumny. I went in there and I saw Firstborn of the Sun. If you haven't heard of Firstborn of the Sun, you should definitely pick it up. It's such an incredible book. The book that I wanted was in the bookshop, and I'm being really mysterious about this when you can probably see what book it is from the thumbnail, but I secured the book. And that book is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. How beautiful is this cover? Honestly, I so rarely buy books. Working in publishing has its perks, and that is getting books for free. But this book, I was like, I need to get my hands on it. I don't want to read it on Kindle. I know I'm gonna love it. Like, I want a physical copy of this because it's gonna be my new favourite book. Yeah, it's less than 400 pages, so I think I can finish it this weekend. I'm gonna bundle up, get cozy. I have this event to go to this evening, but I'm gonna read before I go to the event, read after the event, read tomorrow. I don't have any plans tomorrow, so I want to read all day. So it's the next day, it's Sunday, and I am very, very sick. So the last clip that you saw was me right before I went to the event, and it was like this big like Somali graduation ceremony thing. But tell me why it lasted over 5 hours. Over 5 hours, guys. And I could feel myself getting sicker and sicker and sicker during the event. So anyway, before I left, I read for like maybe an hour and a half or something, and I read only like 45 pages. I think that the start was a bit like confusing, which of course is going to be confusing. So those first 45 pages was like set up, like very confusing setup, which I completely expected for a new fantasy world. And then I took my Kindle with me. I'm reading like both. So I took my Kindle with me so I could read at the event, and I read actually more than I thought I was going to read. I think I read like almost 10% at the event, and then I came back and then I read till like really late, until the clocks went back. Guys, the clocks went back today, which means that the sun sets at around 4 now instead of 5. Oh, guys, I don't know how I'm going to survive the winter. If anyone has any tips on like romanticizing the winter, because I've done every other season, but winter is so... And then I came back, read some more, so now I'm about a third of the way through, and let me tell you what this book is about. I honestly, like, I've heard so many people talk about this book, but I still didn't know what it was about when I was getting into it, which I like. I like when I think I'm gonna love a book even without knowing anything about it. The thing that this book keeps reminding me of, which I don't know if this is anyone else, it might literally just be me, but Sister Act. Now hear me out, this is what the book is about. Basically, there's this cathedral church thing, right? And inside this church are these 6 women. They're called diviners, right? And they were all orphans, brought to this place when they were really young. Their entire role, they're stripped of their identities. They're literally called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And we're following 6. They wear a shroud and it covers their eyes, so no one knows their name or who they are. And their only jobs is to divine people's like futures. So people come to this cathedral and they're like, and they want to know, like, say a glimpse into their future, like, does this look good or bad, basically. And then they go into this like pool of water and are drowned by the leader of this cathedral. She drowns them, and then whilst they're dreaming in their state of death, they basically predict whether they're going to have a good omen or a bad omen or something, right? Something like that. So people come all across the land to come get their futures read, and these women constantly die for these people. And first of all, their friendship is so cute. Like, they've been raised together. They haven't even seen each other's faces, but also they fully believe in the cause because they've essentially been brainwashed since they were babies to do this. But right at the start of the story, this king comes to the cathedral, and he comes with his entire like posse of knights. I don't know what they're called, entourage, I don't know. He comes with all his knights and he gets his future read, and it's basically like bad omen after bad omen after bad omen. And then one of the knights in his entourage is for some reason, he is so skeptical about this whole thing, and he just hates the whole concept of it. So he's literally constantly being disrespectful to this woman and all the people in this cathedral. But then slowly, and I started to get the gist of that early on, there's something more going on here in this cathedral, and these women are in danger. At first, I was like, okay, where's this going? But then as soon as I think things really start to kick off, maybe 50 pages in, I'm really enjoying it. I think this is so much fun. I really enjoy the prince, who's her love interest, who hates her still, to be honest, a third of the way, and he can't stand her, she can't stand him. It's great stuff. But I'm just really enjoying these characters. I'm enjoying the found family, I'm enjoying the banter, I'm enjoying the gargoyle. There's this gargoyle that I've been hearing about, who's basically everyone's favourite character, who's called Bartholomew, and he's speaking gargoyle. This cathedral is filled with them. It's so whimsical. It's not as flowery as I thought it would be written, but that's okay. It's just so whimsical and silly and atmospheric and character driven. I'm really enjoying it, and I do think I can, if I lock in, I think I can finish it today. When I get sick, all rules go out the window. So I've ordered myself my favourite bagels for breakfast, and I'm gonna get this done. I managed to read maybe about 6-7 pages before falling asleep. I knocked out, and then by the time I woke up it was dark outside, which is so miserable. Also, I'm getting so much worse. Like, I'm just getting out of breath from speaking. Yeah, it's literally day 1 of these daylight saving times, and I genuinely don't know how I'm gonna do this for 5 months. Like, please, anyone who has the tools to survive winter and romanticize winter, please tell me, because I feel like I'm delusional enough that I could, like, I can rebrand winter, right? I have the power to rebrand winter. I just don't know how to. Like, how do I romanticize it getting dark at 5 o'clock? Other than, okay, obviously it's like cozy season and I can read so much more. Other than that, please, I need help. Anyway, so I've read like 6 more pages, so I'm about I'm 42% of the way in, according to my Kindle. I've got to say, switching from Kindle to physical really makes you read faster. That being said, I'm not even halfway through yet. I'm really enjoying where I am. Really nice doing an hour timer on the TV and like reading. So I think I'm gonna do another hour timer and see how much I can get done. I read about 30 pages last time, so I think 30 pages is my average. Do I think I can still finish this today? Maybe. So if anyone's wondering what this random thing is, when my sister used to live here, she was just like experimenting and painting random stuff on the walls, so that's why we have that. I love doing a combination of this YouTube autumnal timer, which doesn't have any sound, but then I'll pair it with there's a setting on your phone I didn't even know about where you can do background noises, and then I'll do the rain and then just play it, and it's on an endless loop. It's so good. Okay, so I had a little break. I went and ate dinner, watched some Vampire Diaries, and now I'm back. It's 8 in the evening. Still feeling very, very run down and sick, but an observation I'm making about this is that the love interest, or like the romance in this is by no means the main part of the story. Like, I personally wouldn't call this a romantasy. Like, I don't know if it's technically a romantasy, but I definitely don't see it like that, even though there is like a significant romance happening. Well, not really, because I'm halfway through the book now and nothing's happened between the 2 characters, which is great. It's great. The tension is really building up, and the 2 characters are just so disrespectful to each other. It's my favourite kind of banter, when 2 characters are just rude to each other, and even now when they're like kind of reconciling their differences and not hating each other as much, they're still being disrespectful to each other, which I love. Like, I hate in a romance when 2 characters who hated each other are all of a sudden nice to each other. Like, I hate that switch up. Even if you're not enemies anymore, I feel like that just ruins the dynamic between the 2 characters, because if you've been rude to each other this whole time and I've been loving that dynamic, and all of a sudden you're being nice to each other, I don't get it. But these 2, they're so disrespectful. I just love it, like, when romance is just not the main thing. My beef with a lot of romantasy is when the plot molds itself around the romance. Maybe I'll change my mind by the time it gets towards the end of this book and things start happening between these two characters. But for now, I love what we're getting so far. The tension between these two characters is crazy. Nothing has happened between them two, but the scenes between them are just, they're great. They're great. Hello. I think the last time you saw me was yesterday when I was reading on the chair. So after I went to bed, I read another like 100 pages on my Kindle, and I'm starting to realise that I think I read a lot faster on my Kindle because I read 100 pages when I went to bed, and I think physically that would take me like 3 hours. Yeah, so I read so much faster on my Kindle when I switched to Kindle and I got into bed, and I don't know if that's because like I was in bed and like I didn't have any distractions, so I really got into it, or because I just read faster on my Kindle. Like I haven't actually tested it where I've done like an hour of physical reading and an hour of ebook reading. I'm curious, I might try that. But today I've been off from work sick, so I literally slept most of the morning and most of the afternoon. But I've got some reading done today, and I realised it's so much better when I'm sick to read, because usually whenever I'm sick I'll always like binge watch a series and it will make my head hurt so much and it makes things so much worse. So reading when I'm ill is definitely the better shout. Oh my gosh, I've looked so rough this entire video. Apologies. An update on The Night and the Moth. It is almost 4 p.m. Is it 4 p.m? This is how far into the book I am. So I've got less than 100 pages to go, maybe like 70 pages. And I'm really, 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 really enjoying this. I just think this is like the perfect seasonal read. The yearning in this between the two characters and like the tension between them, it's great. And I love the side characters. The plot is very interesting. I don't know, well, I do know where it's going and I don't know where it's going. Like right now I'm sitting between either a 4.5 or a 5 stars. That's how I felt like this entire book. I'm like going between the two. So once I get to the end of this, I'll have more concrete thoughts. But I'm just waiting for Maghrib, which is the sunset prayer. Once I pray, I think I'm going to sit and finish the rest of this book. So as a little side quest, we're going to look at my bookshelf behind me, and I'm going to give you guys like a very informal bookshelf tour because I don't know what to do with it. As you can see, it's like kind of crazy, but it's less crazy than it was like a couple weeks ago because I put a poll on my Instagram when it looked a bit worse than this, basically being like, do you guys think I should stuff, because I love stuffing. I have a problem, right? I'll literally stuff books into every single, like, again, a couple weeks ago this was a lot worse, but like there were books stuffed into every little empty gap. So when I put it to stories and asked you guys what you guys think I should do, either buy another bookshelf or stuff some more, obviously the majority of people said buy another bookshelf, but I'm not going to buy another bookshelf right now. I want to buy another bookshelf like before the end of the year, but that's not going to happen right now. So in the meantime, I think I need a short-term solution. So one of my friends actually commented saying, I think she thought that my bookshelf was double stacked when it's not. But then I was like, oh my god, that's genius. Like, why have I never thought to double stack? So now I've become even more of a menace to society than I was before. But let me give you guys a little close-up, okay, to see what we're working with. Okay, so we have my top shelf, which is mostly my Skullduggery series, which I love, and I've got my Alchemized special edition facing out, which is cute. Here's my top shelf. Obviously I've got the Quran up above. I wish I had like something better, but that's what we've got for now. Next shelf down, we've got a whole stack of like TBR books. TBR, most of these books on here I've read. And then next one is literally my Brandon Sanderson shelf. I've snuck, guys, I'm getting out of breath. I can't breathe out of my nose. Anyway, these are my 2 R.F. Kuang books, but other than that, it's literally all Brandon Sanderson. And I've got 2 copies of Wind and Truth because one of them came like messed up. And I haven't read those yet, so I've just got it like that. And then my next shelf is this is a bit more random, and I've got a lot more books here that I haven't read. Like, maybe like 5 or 6 books here that I haven't read. And then I have, this is my double stacked shelf, right? So everything on the back are fantasy books that I've already read, but literally every single book that you see spine out are books I haven't read. So this is literally a TBR shelf, except for, I think there's one book on here that I've read. Yeah, The Starless Sea. Other than that, it's all books I haven't read, which is actually nice to see it all like this. And in the bottom are like my kids' books that I really love and like have a very big attachment to. Oh, guys, I'm out of breath, oh my gosh. So yeah, let me know what you think. I think that I can, now that I've become a double stacker, I feel like I have unlocked something new. Like, I'm thinking, right, this is my plan. I'm thinking I'll get another Billy bookshelf. This doesn't really solve the issue at all, actually, but I'm thinking I want to get rid of this white bookshelf and change it to a brown Billy bookshelf, like maybe the dark brown one. Get rid of a bunch of books
I love an unhaul, and then have it so that all the books are single stacked. And then once I fill these shelves and I've gotten rid of any book that I don't want on there, I get a second bookshelf, but a skinny one. I put it like right next to it here, and then that is like the max bookshelves I do. Sorry, this was a really long tangent. Anyway, see you guys after I pray to finish the rest of this book. Guys, I finished the book. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. That ending was quite insane. I really enjoyed this, and I really like going in blind was actually great because I did not know what to expect from this story, and it made it like, it kept me on my toes. I think I would give this a 4.5 stars. Loved the characters, I loved the found family. I think it was quite dark in tone considering how whimsical and like silly it was. Talking Gargoyle, who was probably my favourite character, Bartholomew, he's so like ridiculous and everything he says is so funny, and he calls everyone Bartholomew. He just refers to everyone as Bartholomew, and he's just like this comedic relief. I love him, he's adorable. But it was like quite dark. A lot of like sad things happen in this, but not like sad cry sad. I think the only reason why this isn't a 5 stars is because I think the structure of the story, like it was very much like, so the first half or like the first third of this book was you're trying to unpack this mystery of this like cathedral and like what's going on. You're kind of like getting to grips with the world and getting to know these characters. But for a lot of this book it was like a quest. They go on a quest, they solve the quest, they go into the next quest, they solve the next quest, they go, you know, like it was like a very repetitive structure. And a good amount of this book, when it was getting to that like repetitive part, it was quite predictable until it got to like the twist at the end. But also a lot of the info, like the information about this world and like the lore was repeated quite a lot. It was like characters would go on monologues about the world, right? And then they would just repeat that. Sorry guys, I literally, I'm struggling to breathe. So I think like if it wasn't for that, I think it would have been a 5 star, but like, I loved this so much, but I don't think it was a 5 star. I think my favourite thing about this was the characters and the romance. I really enjoyed the romance. Will I be reading book 2? Absolutely. I don't know when that comes out. I need to check. But yeah, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this. I feel like this was very raggedy. So if you stayed this long, I really appreciate you. And let me know if you want to see more vlogs like this, individual reading vlogs. But yeah, if you stayed this far, leave a sword emoji because knights. And I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully when I'm less ill.